Hey folks, welcome to the Fox 5 Live Zone. I'm your host, Guy Lambert. Thank you so much for joining us. Remembering those who lost their lives on 9/11. We'll do that throughout the show right here on the Live Zone. The latest on the murder of Charlie Kirk. And the Commanders back in action tonight as they take on the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. All that and more coming up on the show. But first, how about a guy that knows all things weather? Tucker Barnes joining us right here on the Live Zone.
Oh, I'm so excited for the game tonight.
Oh, you? So I wore these colors
I
because
was about to ask you.
typically whatever color I wear for the two teams that are playing, they lose.
Okay.
So there we go.
So it's sort of a reverse superstition of sorts.
Yeah. I'm putting the mojo on me.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Now, somebody my age on my shift, we got to go. I take a long nap this afternoon so I can stay up. It's worth every minute if they win. If they lose, it's the worst decision of my life. Getting up at, 4 in the morning, going to bed at midnight doesn't work.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Okay, guess what? Beautiful afternoon. We're trying to break the clouds, and we'll continue to do so. So I think with each hour that goes, as we get into the late afternoon here, we should get more and more sunshine across the area. 71, going to be a warmer day than yesterday. We should be up near 80. It should be a drier day than yesterday. By the way, we picked up 0.2 of an inch of rain yesterday. You know, we could use it, so that was good. And we've got the rain chances out of the way for the next couple of days. So it's all good news here forecast. Okay, midday hours, and we're talking clouds kind of lingering right along 95 and points east. There is still some light drizzle. You can see it there. See the green out along the eastern shore and right along the bay. That will continue to very slowly get pushed out of here as air from the north, drier air from the north continues to work in. So if you're out to the west, it's an all bright sunshine afternoon. If you're out along the bay and points east, the clouds will continue to break up. And either way, it should be a pleasant late afternoon for the region with daytime highs near 80. And dry going forward here. So we'll get that last of the sprinkles out of here. And then, Guy, we're setting up for a beautiful weekend. Tomorrow, sunshine, low to mid 80s. Saturday and Sunday will feature daytime highs in the mid to upper 80s. Real late summer feel there for you. But both days look sunny and pleasant. So outdoor plans this weekend, a good weekend to be, enjoying the best of what the region has to offer.
Yeah, perhaps one of the last weekends it's going to be really hot, maybe, kind of?
I think we're getting close.
Yeah.
I mean, 90 degrees is tough to hit once you get into the second half of September. So,
all right.
never say never, because Mother Nature does. I mean, I like to think I control the weather, but I don't. So, but yes, I think we're running out of days to be real hot.
All right, well, truly appreciate it. Tucker Barnes, all things weather right here on the Live Zone.
Go Commanders.
Let's do it. Guys, if you haven't already done so yet, make sure you download the Fox local app so you can take that forecast with you on the go. Well, the victims of the 9/11 terror attacks are being remembered some 24 years later. The annual remembrance ceremony took place earlier today, and many more will continue throughout the day. In all, nearly 3,000 people lost their lives on that tragic day. Dr. Carol Lieberman is a forensic psychiatrist, expert witness, best-selling, award-winning author of 4 books, 2 on terrorism and 2 on relationships. I should make mention, since 9/11, she has been devoting a significant portion of her time to help people cope with terrorism. She joins us right here on the Live Zone. Dr. Lieberman, truly a pleasure to see you and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So, Dr. Lieberman, you are known worldwide as America's psychiatrist. I would argue today is really a day that a number of people need a shoulder to cry on or someone to talk to.
Yes, absolutely. But not only is this a tragedy, of course, and we have to remember the victims and the first responders and honor all of these people, but we have to wake up and realize that it is not over. The danger of terrorism, the threat, is still ongoing. In fact, we're in more danger today than we ever were. This is why, I became the terrorist therapist at 9/11. I'm a born and bred New Yorker, and that's why that affected me so much. But also, I knew it was going to be the #1 threat in our lives, and that is panning out to be true.
Yeah. I think we can all think back to where we were that day when it happened. That's one of the times that I remember literally being on air. I was in Connecticut, New Haven to be exact, and I would assume you two were probably in New York, not too far away. With that being said, it still resonates with me. I experienced it. It was tangible. For a number of younger folks, I would say Gen Zers, they weren't around when that happened. And so with that being said, what is it that we need to do in order to bring more awareness that, yet again, terrorism is truly a threat? It was back then, and it still is now.
Yes, that is a big problem. Every year, the number of people who were born after 9/11 grows, the percentage of the population grows, and they don't have that feeling. You know, it's kind of like learning about things in history, World War One, World War Two. You know, we can kind of understand it and all of that and feel bad, but it's not the same gut, gut feeling that we had on 9/11. And I actually had moved to California by then, but my daughter was in college in New York at Barnard, and telling me blow by blow descriptions, but I still feel it. I mean, that's my heart is still in New York. But it's not just about New York. Do you know they did studies saying that people who weren't in any of the places, the sites of the terror attacks, New York with the Pentagon, Pennsylvania Field, even if they weren't anywhere near that, but they watched the Twin Towers falling enough times, they could get PTSD. They did get PTSD. And so yes, we are all affected by this. You know, I've created a tradition for the last 5 years where I made a music video. People can see it on my website, terroristtherapist.com, but it's going around New York this year. On a mobile billboard bus, and it's all about 9/11. It's not just, for the first years I did it like warm and fuzzy, why we should honor 9/11. Last year I redid it and made it so that more of a warning, how we have to be more awake to realize that this is not the end. And yes, if people are feeling, any of these signs being triggered by PTSD, sure, they should get help. But also they should take it as a warning. Take it, we don't want to feel this again.
Yeah. And so with that being said, we'll wrap up with this, and that is, how can we prevent something like this from ever occurring again, where so many folks don't think that could actually happen?
Well, yes. Number one, we have to elect politicians who are aware of the dangers. Certainly, President Trump is, fortunately, we have him as president this year, this for another term, and because he certainly does understand the danger of terrorism. But we have to wherever politicians are running, we have to elect people who have shown that they have an awareness of the danger of terrorism. Plus, we need to make ourselves more healthier psychologically and physically so we can face these dangers. And we need to learn about 9/11. We need to, even if we were there, we were alive, certainly the schools. One big thing is the schools. A lot of schools don't even acknowledge that it's 9/11, and they certainly don't teach about it in the appropriate way.
Yet again, we have been joined by Dr. Carol Lieberman, kind enough to join us right here on the Live Zone. I truly appreciate your time, ma'am.
Thank you.
We now confront a tragic event that has sent shockwaves through the political landscape. Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, died yesterday after he was shot and killed while speaking on the campus of Utah Valley University. Kirk's killer still at large, but the FBI say they have found a high-powered rifle and tracked the movements of the suspected gunman. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Michael Letts. He is the founder, president, and CEO of Invest USA, a national grassroots nonprofit organization that is helping hundreds of communities provide thousands of bulletproof vests. Michael, always good to see you. Wish it happened to be better circumstances.
Well, thank you so much, and you're exactly right, Guy. I wish it was better circumstance. Charlie was a good friend of mine, and we mourn at the loss, but we also acknowledge that I believe his voice is now being amplified exponentially across the world, and for that we're grateful.
My condolences to the loss of your friend. Michael, I want to bring this up immediately. We're following breaking news, if you will. The FBI and authorities now releasing the actual picture of the gunman, or at least who they believe may very well be behind the shooting death of Mr. Charlie Kirk. We saw a press conference earlier today where authorities stated that they were combing through the evidence. They were hoping to use some type of technology, if you will, and hoping to identify the suspect that way. They then stated if they were not able to do so, which apparently they have not, they would then release this photo that you're looking at right now to the media. We're taking a look at it for the first time. Your thoughts, Michael?
Well, obviously he's a college-age young person. Raises a couple red flags, in my opinion, though, Guy, that I think we need to discuss. When you take a look at the statistics and what happened, the facts surrounding this case, this was not some young person or some person who was angry at something that was said, punched you in the nose. This is a professional hit. I mean, when you look at trajectory, 200 yards, you have to have a professional skilled shooter to do that. You have to have wind calculations, a lot of factors that go into this. a lot of expense that goes into this, quite frankly, if you're going to pull it off the mission successfully. And usually a professional wouldn't make mistakes, such as leaving a weapon behind. And so all that needs to be factored and calculated. And I understand where the FBI is coming from. They did the trajectories, they pinpointed the location. There was some film that showed a person on a roof. It was grainy. You couldn't make a determination there, but you could determine the outfit he was wearing. They then looked at other cameras throughout the entire university to see if perhaps he had been traveling, transversing, walking some other place to get to that position. Evidently, for what we just saw, they found some that have the same clothing match. But the question has got to remain, is this person trained and able to hit a shot like that? Is he a pro at what he's doing? Because I've got to tell you, Guy, I got some real concern about whether you think you can just pull somebody off the street and they can get lucky and make a shot like that happen.
Yeah, I got to tell you, that's one of the first things I began to ponder as well when we saw the distance with regard to how far the gunman had to be in order to make that horrific action in taking the life yet again of Mr. Charlie Kirk. I'm curious, Michael, what happens now? I mean, obviously the FBI and authorities have now released the actual photo. I would assume someone perhaps out there recognizes this person, even though he's wearing glasses and a hat. They will probably take a number of telephone calls or field those calls, and then what happens?
Well, hopefully, the way they're running this investigation, it's a multi-pronged. What do I mean by that? You remember I told you it takes money to run an operation like this. So we should be tracking financial resources. Who would have had a vested interest in this? Liberal causes, obviously. And would any of those dollars have been funneled towards this endeavor? Also, what's the chatter? Who's talking about it within these liberal leftist circles? And we need to be exploring those possibilities as well. If you're just going to go down one lead, you're making a terrible mistake. I mean, I would love to tell you guys, yep, this is it. Case closed, we got him. But based on what I saw, the professionalism of this, I think all options, all cards are still on the deck, and we better make sure that we're pursuing every lead that's necessary.
To your point, we do know that the FBI stated several times yesterday that perhaps not only did they have a person of interest in custody, but perhaps they had the gunman, to which they were mistaken. Michael,
Correct.
One of the other things that we should really focus on is no matter what side of the fence one sits on, and I'm talking about the political realm, a family has lost a husband, has lost a father, and yet again, it all reverts to violence. And despite us folks in America having different beliefs within the political system, it should never, ever revert to violence.
Well, that was one of the great things about Charlie. Charlie didn't believe in violence in these situations. He wanted dialogue. That was his main focus. Let's sit down and talk. And perhaps we might even find some common ground. We've abandoned that. What has happened is those who are on the leftist side, and I won't put the blame where I think it should lie. You take a look, there's a lot more violence on the left than there has ever been on the right. And why are they so violent now? Because it's a matter of power. They've lost power. They're doing everything they can to try to restore it, to regain it, to discredit anything the right is doing. Folks, lay aside the personal issues of wanting power. Do us all a favor. Put America first. Put America's people first. And when we do that, then let's sit down and establish dialogue, and we will find, I can assure you, we will find common ground that we can work together to make America a better place to be. But only if we lay aside the hatred and the grab for power. I mean, look, folks, power only lasts for a particular period of time, and it's not what it's cracked up to be, okay? So make sure that you invest in making America a better place for future generations and for our future children than you do worried about your own grab for power.
Yeah, I got to tell you, within several news organizations, we have seen videos of snickers, if you will, folks snickering, I should make mention of, giggling, laughing, which just downright disgusting to think that someone would celebrate the loss of life for, yet again, despite different beliefs, it's a father, it's a son, and a husband gone. It's just, it perplexes me. Michael, we know that later tonight, President Trump will attend a baseball game, I believe at Yankee Stadium. I can only imagine, yet again, that's outside. You are former law enforcement. I can only imagine what law enforcement, Secret Service is dealing with pertaining to the president attending this event tonight, a little less than 24 hours or more than 24 hours after what occurred yesterday.
It's very hair-raising, shall we say. It's very nerve-edgy. And here's the reason why. It's always so much more difficult to defend in the open than it is in closed quarters where people have to go through security, et cetera. Now, yes, they'll still go through security in the game, but this is the difference between a private individual, talking about Charlie, and a public individual, the President of the United States. The President of the United States has the assets. There'll be drones in the air. We will have already been there 3 days in advance, what we call an advance team. We have identified the vulnerable spots to where our sniper shooting could come from. We'll make sure those are cut off. We'll make sure they're covered. But when you have a private individual, you don't have the ability to have those resources, and so you take a much greater risk. And unfortunately, Charlie paid the price for it.
Michael, yet again, as president and CEO of Invest USA, a national grassroots nonprofit organization that is helping hundreds of communities provide thousands of bulletproof vests, the question I pose to you is, should folks wear vests when attending these events and or speaking at these events?
Well, let's work our way backwards to what you just said. When you're speaking at these events, especially when you're talking about a hostile environment like we are now, talking about political, I would strongly recommend it by all means. When you're attending these events, if you're going to attend these events, make sure that you're observed, that you don't get wrapped up and not aware of your surroundings. Constantly be on the lookout and make sure you listen to one key aspect. If shots are fired, take cover, hit the ground first. Don't try to run away because you become another target. Just make sure you hit the ground, make sure you take cover until the issue is passed.
Well said. Michael, we'll give you the last word, if you will, with regard to Mr. Charlie Kirk, yet again stating that he happened to be a colleague and a friend of yours. Our condolences. Would you like to leave us with anything?
Yes, let me leave him with a word for all of us. Charlie had the courage, whether you liked it or not, to speak his mind and to state what he felt like was the truth. Let's all take courage and make sure that we stand together, united as Americans. We are Americans first and foremost. Let's be united, stand together, and talk about what is the right thing to do, dispel the violence, and come together and find common ground.
Mr. Michael Letts, truly appreciate your time, sir, and yet again, condolences from all of us here at Fox 5.
God bless and God bless America, Guy.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Tamara C. Thurman.
Sal Edward Thierry Jr.,
John Patrick Tierney.
Mary Ellen Tiesi,
William Randolph Tista.
Kenneth Tejan,
Stephen Edward Ty.
Scott Charles Timmis,
Michael E. Tinley.
Jennifer M. Tino,
Robert Frank Tipaldi.
John James Tipping II,
David Tirado.
Hector Luis Torrado Jr.,
Michelle Lee Titolo.
Alicia Nicole Titus,
John J. Tobin.
Richard J. Tedisco,
Otis V. Tolbert.
Vladimir Tomasevich,
Stephen Kevin Thompson.
Thomas Tong,
Doris Torres.
Luis Eduardo Torres,
Amy Elizabeth Toyen.
Christopher Michael Trena,
Daniel Patrick Trant.
Abdul Karim Traore,
Glenn J. Travers Sr.
Walter Philip Travers,
Felicia Yvette Trailer Bass.
James Anthony Trentini,
Mary Barbara Trentini.
Lisa L. Treratola,
Karamo Baba Trera.
Michael Angel Trinidad,
Francis Joseph Trombino.
Gregory James Trost,
Willie Q. Troy.
William P. Zilepis Jr.,
Janetta Valentinova Soy.
Michael Patrick Tucker,
Lance Richard Tumulty.
Cheng Peng Tung,
Simon James Turner.
Donald Joseph Tuzio,
Robert T. Twomey.
Jennifer Lynn.
All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Let's talk football, shall we? Yes, week 2 of the NFL season kicks off tonight with a Thursday night game between the Commanders and Green Bay Packers. Both the Commanders and Packers are 1-0 so far this season, but the odds headed into tonight's game dare I say, favor the Packers. Here to break it all down is none other than John Booty, former NFL player and NFL analyst back here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, my friend. Happy Thursday.
Hey, happy Thursday to you, Guy. And it's good. I'm home in Texas. It's 10-time state championship champions of my high school, Carthage, Texas.
As you should. We all know in Texas everything is bigger, including football.
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, John, we got a lot to talk about. In this case, the Commanders taking on the Green Bay Packers last week following the Commanders beating the Giants. Well, I guess, just 4 days ago on Sunday, I was there. Jaden Daniels said, you know what, we won, but we played sloppy. So the question is, what did they need to do in order to clean it up so they're not playing sloppy tonight when they take on the Packers?
Well, first of all, there was the first game, and everybody's trying to get a feel for everything on the football field, at full speed, fast speed. So they played sloppy, and again, this was a learning experience for them. So the 4 days or 3 days or whatever to get together and practice, to show up on the little things, the timing routes and all that, hey, we got that under our belt. The first game. So the second game, we should be a little bit more crispier. The timing should be better. So no mental mistakes. That's the thing. And they brush up and clear up on that, they'll do a whole lot better.
Yeah, speaking of crispy, we need to make sure that we get you out of that sun, or you too, my friend, are going to be crispy by the time this segment is done. So we know with the Commanders, it's all about Jaden Daniels. I guess about, 2, 3, maybe 3.5 weeks ago, prior to the season starting, we knew that, the Green Bay Packers happened to be a pretty good team, but then they added, a particular guy to their defense. And I would argue that that's what the Commanders really need to worry about tonight.
Right. They need to worry about him because a player like that, I played with a player like that in Philadelphia with Reggie White. And when Reggie White went to the Green Bay Packers, he made everybody else around them play better. So Parsons, in his limited number of snaps, he's going to make everybody else play better because guess what? They know he's going to make something happen. And the Commanders are going to have to double, triple team him, and that's going to leave somebody else open to go after the quarterback. So Daniel's going to have to be on his horse. The running back's got to pick up the blitzes or to pick up the rush and scramble when you need. Use your legs, Daniel, when you have to. But they're going to be concerned about Parsons, which is he got a reputation, and so he has made Green Bay Packers defense better. Yeah. But it's also making the offense for the Commanders. Hey, we're half a game away or so from going to the Super Bowl. So we got to take that confidence with us. And we've upgraded with Debo. So we got to make some things happen to get them on their heels, rather.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you touched on the offense and Debo in a major way. By the way, you say Parsons and Debo, both those guys, I don't know, just look at them, it just scares me. I mean, those are some big dudes. With regard to Debo, though, he looked amazing in Game 1 as yet again the Commanders took on the Giants. But, hey, what about that scary Terry? Didn't really get a lot of touches. And, I mean, obviously that will have to change, I would expect, in order for the Commanders to be victorious.
They got to get their timing down. He missed training camp, preseason. And so the timing is going to come back. Once he gets his timing down with Daniels, that's going to help out. Debo is going to open up some things because they just can't focus on Scary Terry, right? So getting that timing down, getting the guys who have a little bit of injuries, injury bugs, whatnot, get them better. That's the deal. And it's a collective effort. And again, I do like Zach Ertz. He's another security blanket for Daniels. So again, it's got to be a collective thing. Yeah. And with the confidence of beating the Giants, they know they're going into Lambeau Field with a team that's got a great defense. First game of the season, what they did against Detroit. So they got the work cut out for them. But it's all about the mentality of it all.
Yeah, if you happen to be a fan of football, you know the best way to attack and for it to be successful is that whole play action thing. In this case, I would argue that, the running back that goes by the name of Bill showed up in a major way in Game 1. 7th round pick, John, but yet again, he's probably a household name right here in the nation's capital already.
Well, I'm a big fan of the late round picks because I was a late round pick when I was drafted. So it's all about the heart and the mentality of a football player once they get on the football field. So he's on the football field. He want to make something happen. And again, household name in the D.C. area, right?
Yeah. All right. So then we're talking about, you made mention of injuries. We know that quarterback Jaden Daniels, well, one of the wrists happened to be a little off. The commanders say, no worries, he's going to be okay. He's going to play. But then you got the punter, which everybody says doesn't matter. And you know what? Although I didn't play football, I take offense to that because I happen to be the size of a punter. So had I played, that would have been me. I'll say this. Tress Way, his back is still questionable. So they signed, let's say, the backup punter. Is that going to make a difference?
Well, you want the punter to put the ball, give you good field position when he does punt the ball. So again, punters been around for a while. So this guy, the backup, gets in, just punt the ball. Don't get blocked. Don't get it blocked. It's up to the front protection not to get it blocked. Just place the ball in field, and we'll just do the rest. It's a team effort.
Yeah. So you know what we're going to end with, John, and that is, as we do each and every game during the NFL season. And I believe this will be the first time we're doing it. We didn't have you game one, so I'm going to ask you your prediction for the game that's going to get underway tonight.
Yeah, everybody's talking about Green Bay. That's kind of like Ali and Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier. But anyway, I'm going to say the Commanders are going to go up there and win.
Wow.
They be in Green Bay. It's not the frozen tundra yet. It's the unfrozen tundra. And I think the Commanders are looking for respect. And they're going to go up there and show that they are capable of winning on the road. I guess a team in the NFC. So I think they're going to go up there maybe 21. I'm going to say 28-21.
Wow.
Commander.
All right. Well, John Booty said it. Put some respect on the Commander's name.
Put it on that.
Absolutely love it. Yet again, you can catch all of tonight's action right here on Fox. Our pregame show starts at 7:30. And then it's the Amazon Prime game on Fox 5 at 8 o'clock. John, I guess you'll be watching it from Texas, the Lone Star State. Right.
I'm down here in Cowboys land, so I'm going to rough up on those guys.
As you should, my friend. John Booty, former NFL player and analyst, joining us right here on the Live Zone. I always love when we get a chance to chit-chat, John. Truly appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
From the 5-7 Battalion. Back on September 12, 2001, I had written a poem as we waited while they searched for you. The poem is entitled, "This Is What It's For, Dad." You sailed for inner peace and patience. You read and studied for knowledge. You ran, swam, pedaled, and paddled, giving you more strength and endurance than you could ever need. You prayed to keep God with you, and you have now been faced with a challenge that you have prepared all your life for. This is what it's for, Dad. We are missing you and waiting for you to come home, and we all love you so very much, Daddy. They did find you on September 18th, and you did come home to us, but not in the way that we had hoped. While your actual presence in our daily lives is greatly missed, you continue to be a source of support, guidance, inspiration, and comfort to us all. I thank you and feel blessed for the life and legacy that you and Mom have created for us. You are loved and missed every day. Your courage and bravery will never be forgotten. God bless the Monroe 6 from Engine 235, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. I am proud of you, Daddy, and I love you very much.
John Sylvester White.
Kenneth Wilburn White, Jr.
Leonard Anthony White.
Melissa Y. White.
Maudlin A. White.
Sandra L. White.
Wayne White.
Leanne Marie Whiteside.
Mark P. Whitford.
Leslie A. Whittington.
Michael T. Tolley.
Mary Lenz Wyman.
Jeffrey David Wiener.
William J. Wick.
Allison Marie Wild.
It's been a little over 12 hours since President Trump's crime emergency expired right here in the nation's capital, though the battle for who controls the city remains. This as GOP lawmakers in the House have introduced a package of bills to tackle crime fighting. In short, those bills attempt to tighten federal control over D.C. I should also make mention that despite the surge ending, Mayor Bowser issued an executive order enabling the collaboration with federal agencies to continue. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is D.C. Councilmember at Large Robert White back here on the Live Zone. Councilmember White, always good to see you, sir. Welcome back to the show.
Good to be with you, Guy.
Mr. White, although many deem the surge a success, tourism numbers have declined. Some restaurants in the district are hurting for customers, and an already maxed out court system, if you will, has been pushed closer to the brink. Not to mention that millions of dollars have been spent daily on the National Guard. Your response to all of that, sir?
The surge has not been a success. We've seen such a sharp drop in trust of our local law enforcement and PD that they have spent years building. The terror reigned on not just immigrants, but anybody who looks like they may be Latino, Hispanic. That is not okay. People are feeling less safe in our city. Our courts have been hampered. This has been an absolute mess here in the city, and a time where we really were starting to move our safety numbers forward.
To your point, analysts have discovered that over 40% of arrests in Trump's D.C. law enforcement surge really relate to immigration. What say you about that?
I think that's been a hard line for most people in DC and across the country. Folks have been racially profiled, terrorized, pulled out of their cars on the way to drop their kids to school, children traumatized. I mean, this has been such a fiasco, but it's just been heartbreaking for most of us to see people treated like that here in DC. And folks in DC don't want to see it. That's why you saw so many thousands of people come out to the Free DC March last Saturday, because people know that this is not okay.
Yeah, it's no secret you have been very vocal about this. I want to move on to what's happening on Capitol Hill. The Oversight and Government Reform Committee now looking to pass a series of bills, and one of which, by the way, happens to include 14-year-olds who commit crimes to be tried as an adult. Your response to that, sir?
This package of bills, this is why I know that it will not benefit DC to play nice with the White House or congressional Republicans, because as DC was doing that, they introduced 14 bills that will hurt us and our city, reducing the age to 14 that kids can be tried as adults, allowing President Trump to appoint our local attorney general, expanding mandatory minimums, things that we've studied endlessly for years, and everybody knows not only does it not work, but it makes us less safe. We need to take those millions of dollars being spent every day to have troops roaming around bored and picking up trash here in DC spent on things like mentoring programs, after school programs. If they really wanted to solve problems, they could, but this is about power and politics. It is not about helping DC.
Mr. White, I'm playing a devil's advocate here, but there are so many that are stating that over 200 illegal guns were seized during the federal surge. I would argue, and I think a lot of folks would argue, that's a good thing, is it not?
Look, any illegal gun off the street is absolutely a good thing, but I want to make sure we're not playing politics with people's safety and how they feel. MPD gets guns off the streets every day. And so this number is a make-believe number, assuming that MPD wasn't already doing that. And if there are folks who want to work with DC to help us get more illegal guns off the street, I guarantee you, most residents and most officials are all for it. But unfortunately, that's not what this is about. This is about militarizing DC so that the president can go and do that in Chicago, in Baltimore, and LA. And that's not democracy, that's not American, and that's not what most of us want.
So what exactly needs to happen next with regard to combating all of this?
A couple things. On Capitol Hill, our Democrats have to stand firm. They cannot go for what's happening in D.C. They have to oppose this. They have to oppose these bills that are really meant to harm D.C. But for residents, we need you to plug in. I hope people are starting to see that the momentum is changing because folks are pushing back. So I've held some town halls. I'm going to do my next one virtually next Monday. We'll have organizations like Free DC. We'll have MPD answering questions. Our local universities, a number of other local organizers, so that everybody has a space that they can plug in. No matter what you do, if you got a little bit of time, if you have legal expertise, we're going to make sure you know how you can get involved. But we need everyone involved right now.
It's no secret, sir. You are a man of the people. I follow you on social media. I'm curious, those that you have come into contact with, the residents of D.C., what are they saying about this? What's the overall, I hate to use the word vibe, but the response to the surge?
I don't think I'm seeing residents as united around an idea as I have around this. All of us want to feel safer, but virtually none of us believe that this is making our city safer or better. It's hurting trust. It's hurting law enforcement. It's hurting families. It's hurting our economy. And almost every resident I talk to says, I want to see more fight back from DC government. And I'm going to tell them that I'm going to keep fighting.
Mr. Robert White, yet again, D.C. Council Member at Large, joining us right here on the Live Zone. I know you're busy, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Yet again, you should take part in his upcoming virtual community town hall Monday, beginning at 6 p.m. Always good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Same, God. Thanks.
All right, folks, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Find joy in when I finally do complete it. The loud exhaust running down the road, just like you did with your Trans Am and your T-Top. Also to my friend's husband, Jonathan Heumann. He would have been a grandfather this year. To Kurt Wolfgruber, who survived and was later director for Voices of 9/11. You are not forgotten. To the 10,000 that have died from 9/11 born illnesses, you are not forgotten. Thank you for your sacrifice. To those who are still struggling and suffering, I'm asking you guys to continue to support them. I have 2 officers in Westport, Richard Falia, Manny Sylvia. They are fighting, and because of your support, they are able to go on. And I want to thank everyone who are here today and continue to bless this country, and don't ever forget us. Thank you.
Angelo Amaranto,
Johnny Doctor Jr.,
John Joseph Doherty,
Thomas Gamino Jr.,
Gian F. Gamboa,
Charles William Gabberini,
Andrew Sonny Garcia,
David Garcia,
Marlon Del Carmen Garcia,
Harvey Joseph Gardner III,
Robert Gerlich,
Matthew James Grismalski,
Michelle L. Hoffman,
Robert J. Hughes Jr.,
Robert King Jr.,
Brian K. Kinney,
Takashi Kinoshita,
Franco La Mama,
Chow.
Guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Throughout the day, lawmakers and officials paying tribute to the victims of the September 11th, 2001 terror attacks. Earlier today, President Trump spoke during a memorial service at the Pentagon before traveling to New York to attend a game at Yankee Stadium later tonight. All this as millions continue to mourn the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk at a Utah college campus event. Vice President J.D. Vance plans to travel to Utah later today to pay respect to Kirk's family. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Andrea Kaye, ready to go host of the Andrea Kaye Show and GOP political strategist. Good to see you, Andrea. Welcome to the show.
Always good to be with you, Guy.
All right, Andrea, obviously, let's start with that horrific incident that took place yesterday in Utah, the murder of Charlie Kirk. If this was truly politically motivated, it's fair to say we are definitely in a dark time.
Yeah, we are. And this is a hard one for me, Guy. I'm going to try to keep it together. My goddaughter worked for Charlie. She was his 6th employee many years ago, and she was one of his OGs in helping to start Turning Point. And I was so grateful that he hired her back in the day. And so this has just hit so hard for so many people that just goes to show how incredibly extraordinary he was and the impact that he had on so many people's lives here in the United States and the world. In fact, he flipped 20% of young people from Democrats to Republicans and helped usher in President Trump back into the White House. It clearly was politically motivated. Otherwise, why would he have to be stopped? Why would a happy young man, happily married to a woman, a father of a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, why did he have to die? Because he was the most effective, most persuasive, the most powerful communicator of a conservative message, of a Christian message. And because he was effective, they had to take him out. And we can also know that it was political, because when the FBI has come out and said that they have found the weapon and that there was a transgender and anti-fascist paraphernalia there with the weapon. This is an incredibly dark time in this country when a young man who wanted to do nothing but have respectful dialogue with young people had his voice permanently taken away. And we can know exactly how dark it is in this country, Guy, when we look across the country and we see the massive amounts of celebrations for this, whether we're talking about the studios of TMZ, some alleged comic on a stage last night in New York City, doctors, nurses, all kinds of people across this country celebrating this assassination. We have and why? Because, and Matthew Dowd, I'll finish up here in a moment. Matthew Dowd said it last night, and that's why he had to be fired. He said that words that you speak in this country that somebody doesn't like make you deserve, means that if you speak words that the opposition doesn't like, you deserve to be taken out.
Truly unacceptable, and something that obviously should have been fired for, to which he was. Andrea, it is truly a hard time for so many, yourself included, as you stated, to have that connection to Charlie. I want to stay on this a little bit longer, and that is, what do we do next? You know, obviously this, and I hate to put it like this, but this too shall pass. But it shouldn't. It shouldn't, in a sense of making sure that we address this so that this does not happen again.
Well, it will happen again, because this is eerily similar to what took place in a field in Butler, Pennsylvania. We also had, and it's only by, I guess, God's decision making why Charlie Kirk is now with the Lord and President Trump survived. And President Trump also survived another assassination attempt that was taking place that was planned for him on a golf course. We also had an assassination attempt that was planned against Supreme Court justices because of a leak of a Dobbs decision, and which was meant to intentionally put a target on the back of the Supreme Court justices. We had fellow LSU grad Steve Scalise was gunned down on a baseball field. The political violence against Republicans, against MAGA, against conservatives has been fostered for too long. And I partly blame the Republican Party for not speaking up forcefully against this. It is not equal on both sides. Because some other Democrat person might have gotten shot at by some deranged person in an event 25 years ago does not mean that the fostering of political violence is equal on both sides. It started with, if you're conservative, if you're MAGA, you deserve to be canceled, have your job taken away from you, demonetized, like what happened to my friends Diamond and Silk and others. And it has expanded to where if you're wearing a MAGA hat, you deserve to have your head beat in a fast food restaurant, to now you deserve to take a bullet. Both party, I think there needs to be an acknowledgement that it's not both sides that is coming towards the right in this country. That's my opinion, and it can be stopped, but it's going to take legacy media, it's going to take both parties, it's going to take President Trump and a lot of people being honest about what's going on. And there needs to be some prosecutions, because what has also fostered this? Our own government that was weaponized against the people and threw Christians into jails for praying outside of abortion clinics.
Bottom line, no matter what side of the fence or aisle you sit on, violence is never the answer. I think we'll have to leave it at that. Well, obviously, the wait continues for President Trump to send National Guard troops to Chicago, Andrea. Obviously, the Illinois governor, well, he's also speaking out about this, stating that he's somewhat glad that the president appears to be rethinking that idea of sending in the federal troops. But he isn't convinced that they won't see military troops on the ground. What do you foresee happening here?
Well, I don't know what's going to happen. I think President Trump and Tom Homan are going to continue to go into sanctuary cities and do what they plan to do and do what the people voted them to do. And that is arrest the criminal illegal aliens amongst us. I think that President Trump has shown that bringing in the National Guard and increasing a military, not a military, but a law enforcement presence on the ground actually does deter crime. And you know who else understands that? J.D. Pritzker, because he unleashed what, I think 13,000 National Guards people on the streets in Chicago during the Democrat National Convention. So I guess it does make sense. I guess it does work to bring in the National Guard in terms of tamping down crime and making streets safe. He's just picking and choosing who deserves to be safe. And in this case, it's the Democrat elites, not his own constituents.
Let's move on to the president now going after prescription drug advertising. In essence, he has signed a memorandum that closes a loophole allowing companies to point consumers to another source. In this case, let's say a website. Obviously, a big issue.
Well, I think an issue that we have is that we've been advertising. There was a time in this country where we didn't have drugs advertised to the American people. We left those conversations between the patient and the doctor. We should have never gone to marketing. I saw one this morning and it was, I've got type 2 diabetes, yay, yay, and jazz hands. Go get this drug. It's like, what are we doing? We need to be, we have almost 80% of Americans have chronic illness. Selling drugs to them obviously isn't solving the problem. What are we doing to address the root causes of those illnesses? And those conversations need to take place between the doctor and the patient with dealing with lifestyle choices or whatever the other root causes are, not just pushing and marketing and trying to sell drugs to the American people.
We'll end with this, Andrea, and that is a question that I posed yesterday during the show, and it all surrounds former Vice President Kamala Harris. We now know that she's taking aim at her former boss, Joe Biden's decision to run for re-election, calling it in so many words, reckless. She writes that Biden's run was driven more by ego than judgment. A little too late for her to be saying this, Andrea?
Well, yeah, especially since, you know, she's trying to ride the fence post here. This is just a compilation of word salads that, you know, proved why she proved on the campaign trail with her word salads why she was just such an abysmal candidate. Is that on the one hand, she says it was his ego and reckless that, you know, he hung in there for as long as he did. Then she flips over and says, but when it comes to the cognitive decline, which was the reason why he had to go, she then jumps in to defend him and says, well, even on his worst day, he was better and more, you know, cognitively there than Trump. So she continues to do herself no favors every time she speaks, whether it's in an interview or in writing.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. What do you have coming up on your show, Andrea?
Well, today we're going to be honoring the anniversary of 9/11 as well as Charlie Kirk's memories. So go to AndreaKayeShow.com for all the details. Thank you so much, Guy. I appreciate it.
As always, we appreciate you joining us right here on the Live Zone. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
That's what I was waiting. That's what I was waiting for. That's what I'm on. A little bit, but it's okay. Yeah, you're not gonna keep people out of there. She's definitely in the way. Excuse me. Excuse me. There we go.
All right, guys, welcome back. Well, it's no secret, in cities across the globe, change is in the air. Neighborhoods once full of history and culture are transforming at a fast pace. But what does this transformation mean for the people who have called these places home? Gentrification, it's a word that sparks debate and evokes emotion. This is not just about buildings, or shall I say budgets. It's about people, the place, and the future of our communities. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Maya Sly, entrepreneur, real estate broker, and thought leader, joining us right here on the Live Zone. I am so happy to have you here on the show. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
I got to tell you, this is just really interesting to me because it's something that I think so many folks kind of sweep under the rug. In this case, we now know that it's one of today's most pressing urban issues, and I'm referring to gentrification and its complex impact on the middle class families. Do tell.
You know, I think it's really interesting right now, especially a time like this. You know, it's the have and the have-nots, and I don't think we've ever seen it so much like this. It's like the barrier of entry into home ownership has just almost become impossible for someone making under $70,000, $80,000 a year. And when you look at markets like the DC metro area, you're looking at our southeast, northeast, average price home, $600,000, average income, $60,000. That's just not sustainable. There's no affordability for them left.
Yeah, Maya, it's to even fathom of purchasing a home. They say it's the American dream, but dear God, you got to be not only a millionaire, but a multimillionaire to do so right here in the nation's capital. It is not easy.
It's not easy, and it's not easy for anyone. They say gentrification, but it's not even gentrification as much as it is the middle class. The middle class has been pushed out, and so now home ownership, first-time home ownership, that is the pathway to creating some sort of wealth for yourself and your family. And if you're looking at purchasing your first home when you're almost 50, that's going to make it extremely difficult for you to retire.
Yeah.
So take this seriously.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the emotional toll as well. I mean, once upon a time, the whole American dream is, you go to college, you graduate, you get married, and then what do? You buy a house. Well, nowadays, you do all of that, but after you get married, you go live with mom and dad. I mean, it's not happening now.
Yeah, we're not seeing it as much as we used to. And the biggest challenge is that they cannot save enough money to be able to get a first-time home buyer experience for themselves. So you have to know what grants exist. You have to know what programs exist. All of these things matter. And being able to have access to that, it's just difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping you can elaborate on that because, yet again, I remember purchasing a home, or at least going through the process of doing just that, and you got that loan officer letter that says, you know what, I'm good to go, my finances look great. But to your point, nowadays, you're going to need probably more than just that. You made mention of grants and other things. How does one find out about that?
Well, you have to have the right lender, and it's very important that you don't overcomplicate the process. You just find a lender who understands the process so they can walk you through it. It is not rocket science. It's just basic math. This is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and a few percentages. But if you get a loan officer who understands down payment assistance, so wherever you live in the United States, across the country, there is some sort of first-time homebuyer program, and even banks have an in-house first-time homebuyer program with down payment assistance, with closing costs, concessions, and now we're in a market where interest rates have been challenging for first-time homebuyers. Sellers who weren't offering concessions before, they are. So this is your opportunity to be able to purchase. B of A has a 100% program. There's tons of lenders who have 100% programs, but you do have to know how much you can qualify for. So you're going to need your earnest money. You're going to need money towards closing costs. It's not, $400,000 that you need. Everyone thinks you still need 20% down to purchase a home, and you do not. There are FHA loans. So FHA in the metro area in DC, you probably up to $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 that they can put 3.5% down. So you just have to be creative about the way you do it because they're paying a mortgage already when they're renting. They're just paying someone else's.
Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to be picking up the telephone and giving you a call sometime in the near future.
You should.
I want to revert back to the whole gentrification thing real quick, and that is I lived for over a decade in the Columbia Heights area of Washington, D.C. It is definitely going through gentrification. With that being said, how does one combat that? Meaning, for some, they don't have the financial means in order to stay. What do they just do? Raise the white flag and wave it and call it a day? Is that all they can do?
Well, I always tell people who have been renting for a long time is that when you see change happening around you, you can't think it's going to stop based on your feelings. These are facts. These things are happening. And individuals who can afford to purchase, they are purchasing. And those family members who could not hold on to those properties are selling them to individuals who have the means to be able to purchase them. So you really have to start being proactive about what this looks like. I don't really like the word gentrification. I call it revitalization because we all have the opportunity to be able to purchase, but sometimes we want to wait until the Starbucks is there and everything is all nice and shiny before we decide that, oh, we're going to buy there now. And now you can't qualify to purchase. So, a first time home buyer needs to really consider that I'm using this as a pathway to my real dream, my dream home. But if you don't get in the game, you're never going to be able to do it. So you got to start somewhere. Be creative about the way that you experience real estate. Buy a property that you can, rent out a room to a roommate with a roommate so that you can actually afford the mortgage until you can put yourself in a different position. But gentrification and revitalization is happening. Growth is going to happen with or without our active participation. So I think that we really need to make sure that we're holding our city leaders accountable and making sure that they understand there are things that you can put in place to help individuals who are 80% AMI. That means
Yeah.
make 80% of the average income or less. There are things that the cities can put in place to help those individuals.
Wow. Correct me if I'm wrong, Maya, but the quickest way to generate wealth, or at least generational wealth, is through real
Yeah.
estate, is it not?
Absolutely. There is no faster way. I always tell people you're saving yourself for a rainy day, but in an asset that depreciates for tax purposes, but appreciates in terms of what it will be valued at 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Everyone's been waiting for the market to crash since it crashed in '08. I'm like, please tell me when this is going to happen. There's no data to support this. We do not have enough inventory, and we haven't for a decade. So the pandemic just skyrocketed prices in a different way. Corporations have come in and purchased more homes than first time home buyers. So you're going to have to be proactive. You've got to find a real estate agent who understands the market, one that is going to help guide you with the right lender, because the lender is going to get you to the right loan that not only you can afford, but one that will allow you to get past that barrier of entry, which is the down payment.
All right, Maya. I'm sold. Folks that want to find out more information about you and or how to begin that process of living the American dream and purchasing a home, what should they do?
They should reach out to me. It's Maya Sly, and you can reach me on theslyteam.com. We service individuals all across the country. We partner with agents and teach them how to use down payment assistance for their clients, because clients more than ever have needed more money to actually enter the transaction. And with the cost of living the way it is, they just don't have the savings anymore, but they can qualify for the mortgage.
Absolutely love it. Yet again, we've been speaking with Maya Sly, entrepreneur, real estate broker, and thought leader. I love that part. But yet again, kind enough to join us on the Live Zone. Surely appreciate you, Maya.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. We are just about 30 seconds away from the top of the hour. I want to bring you up to speed with regard to a developing story we're following. 3 historically black colleges and universities have now gone into lockdown after terroristic threats that were directed at the campus. Thus far, we know that it involves Alabama State University, Hampton University, which is just a little over 2.5 hours outside of D.C., and Virginia State University. Locked down this morning, according to officials. Virginia State shared an urgent alert just after 8:30. Alabama State has actually made mention that they too received the threats and that their campus is currently on lockdown. Hampton University has now canceled classes for the remainder of the day. We will continue to follow yet again this developing story right here on the Live Zone. Well, the countdown is on, and in just a little over 24 hours, count them. Not 1, not 2, but 7. Yes, 7 D.C. public library locations will stay open late for Art All Night. It will feature comedy, of course, go-go, and local arts programming. The Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Library anchors the weekend with comedian, my friend, Donnell Rawlings, and go-go bands headlining a block party that runs until 1:30 in the morning. Joining us to discuss this and so much more is Tansy West Barber, Library Director of Communications, right here on the Live Zone. Tansy, did I get the name right?
You did. It's Tansy West Barber. You right on. Did it correctly.
High five going out to me and high five going out to you all, because it is about to be a party unlike any other. I absolutely love this. We're talking about, yes, Art All Night for that guy or gal that's watching right now, crawling from under a rock and saying, what's this all about? First of all, how dare you? Second of all, do tell.
Okay, thank you. So you are correct. We do have 7 libraries that will be activating different activations this weekend on both Friday and Saturday. So before I get to the iconic block party at MLK Library, I do want to make sure everyone knows that on Friday you can visit our Mount Pleasant Library, Georgetown, Woodridge, or our Benning Road, Dorothy I. Height Library on Friday evening. And on Saturday, you can go to Tenley Friendship Southwest Library or Shawwatha T. Daniel Library in Northwest. And of course, you can come down here to MLK Library, where we are celebrating our 5th year of the annual block party at MLK Library for the Art All Night celebration. This year is going to be a little bit different. Last year, we had over 40,000 people attend. And as much as we love the energy and the participation, there was just quite a lot of people. So this year we are this year we are instituting a capacity. And so we do encourage people to get here early. We will have fencing. So once the fence is closed, we're at capacity. So we do encourage you to get here early. And by early, I mean by 6 o'clock, because our gates will open at 6 p.m. and we go until 1:30 a.m. But you're right, we cannot have a block party without go-go. As a 4th generation Native Washingtonian, this block party is iconic because this is how we used to do it when I was growing up. And so this year we are so excited to feature the RNS Band, Major League Band, 911, which that band has not played together in years.
Wow.
They are coming back on Saturday for a reunion just for the Art All Night block party at MLK Library. We also have DC Vibe, as well as the Backyard Band playing. And then to close us out every year, we have Black Alley Band that will be the last band that plays at 12:30. And you mentioned it, Donnell is also a great friend of mine. For the first time this year, we are introducing the art of comedy. And so he will host a comedy festival, and
Wow.
it's Donnell Rawlings, also known as Ashy Larry, will be here along with Teddy Carpenter, DC's own Teddy Carpenter, and about 4 other local comedians will also grace the stage with them. On our main stage, we have DJ Quicksilver, we have DJ Flex, we have DJ Remy. We have a neighborhood narratives art exhibition that is curated by Brian Bailey, featuring some of our local wonderful, wonderful visual artists. Their art will be on display and for sale. We have Carnival on the Rooftop, hosted by many of our embassies, our Caribbean embassies. And so we're going to have Image Band and DJ Slice and East River Steel Band and some others, and all the costumes and fun that comes with Carnival. If you've ever gone, then you know what I'm talking about. And we're also going to have a silent disco with 3 different DJs down in our Digital Commons area. So for people who still kind of want to be in the mix, but not necessarily into go-go, you can certainly come inside and take part of our silent disco. And then lastly, because I know we have a lot going on, we still have our festival performers. So our jugglers, we have sip and paint, we have caricatures, we have live artists, we have henna tattoo. It is so much going on at this MLK block party that, you know, we're just excited to be back for, you know, come back for our 5th year and just have this. So we look forward to people coming down here. Our theme this year is Love Letter to DC, because our city has just been through some stuff lately. And we want to take this moment to wrap our arms around our city and just give some love on that evening. And so when you come, you'll see a lot of the city here in our theme and our decor and our activities. And we're just going to, you know, raise a fist and give a hug to good old DC, because we love our city.
You know, it's really unlike any other. And I know it's not a competition, but I'm thinking about so many other cities, which I should not, but I am. And I could honestly say no one lives up to what DC does with regard to really recognizing the arts. We know that that has been very important to DC Mayor Muriel Bowser, and obviously it's important to you as well. I guess the question is why?
You know, I'm a graduate of Duke Ellington School of the Arts, right? And for me, you know, it's personal for me. When you see schools having to kind of get rid of their arts programs or be more creative around the arts program, and you went to a School of the Arts from 9th to 12th grade, you understand the importance of arts and how it is really part of the fabric of our city. We have so many theaters just in the downtown corridor. We have so many opportunities and options to celebrate the arts and to honor the arts and to support them by going to the different shows. And so for us to be able to take 2 days, September 12th and 13th, every single year, and just uplift and celebrate our art community across the city, I think is not only important, but it's imperative for us to understand as residents and supporters of DC that celebrating the arts is just, it's what we have to do. It's the right thing to do.
And I'm also looking at the caliber of the folks that you have coming. I mean, Ashley Larry, you could just drop the mic right there. Backyard band. I mean, Black, I could just go on. And all of them, in essence, are all headliners. I mean, this is really cool. And we'll end with this, and that is, I always love to get the response of the people, of those that this happens to benefit. And obviously, this being now, your 5th year, you've had the opportunity to chit-chat with a number of DC residents who have taken part. What are they saying about all of this?
They love it. They absolutely love it. Again, 4th generation Washingtonian. My children are 5th generation Washingtonians. Obviously, my mom is 3rd generation. And I'm saying that because this is intergenerational. The event is intergenerational. And so you see people coming, you know, from their entire family coming, and they just love the fact that they can come together and be here, be present, just you know, be in the moment where they can celebrate what they grew up with, go-go, and, you know, people just dancing and having a great time, and knowing that, you know, it's all coming from a place of love, and knowing that their library system is making it all possible. I always say this, I love the people that come early with their chairs and their food, and, you know, just to make sure that they get a good place, and they're here until 1:30 in the morning. Those are the people who are so intentional about coming downtown. And I love seeing that. I love seeing everyone. But when you have like dedicated your evening to come out to MLK Library for our block party, like that just warms my heart. So they absolutely love it. We love it. We always encourage people to sign up for a library card. Regardless if you're coming from DC, Maryland, or Virginia, you can sign up for a DC Public Library card and come back, right?
Yeah.
So we're not just celebrating the arts on September 13th or 12th. We celebrate all the time. So come back and yeah, continue to love us and embrace art all night.
I love the portion of focusing on getting there early, meaning that if it starts at 6, and you know us, Tansy, that means you do not leave at 6.
That's right.
You
That's
want to
right.
be there
You
by
know
then.
what's funny, Guy? I have this couple. They come every year at 12 noon, and they sit and wait, and they're so delightful. And I truly hope they come back. So yeah, they definitely beat the 6 o'clock time, but they come at 12 noon every year while we're setting up, and
Good
they
stuff.
just sit and watch and wait and enjoy.
Yet again, it's art all night, beginning tomorrow, getting underway tomorrow in a major way right here in the nation's capital. We've been speaking with Tansy West Barber, Library Director of Communications. I truly appreciate you joining us. This was fun. Thank you so much for what you do.
It was. Thank you. And I hope we see you at Art all Night.
You bet. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Well, the victims of the 9/11 terror attacks are being remembered 24 years later. In all, nearly 3,000 people lost their lives on that tragic day. The annual remembrance ceremony took place earlier today. Among those in attendance, President Trump.
41. At the time, it was the biggest building ever built. From that moment forward, this structure stood as a monument to American strength, power, and cherished American freedom. Exactly 6 decades later, on September 11th, 2001, those same walls, built with the sweat and muscle, blood of our parents and grandparents, were scarred by flame and shaken by terror as our country came face to face with pure evil. On that fateful day, savage monsters attacked the very symbols of our civilization. Yet here in Virginia and in New York and in the skies over Pennsylvania, Americans did not hesitate. They stood on their feet and they showed the world that we will never yield, we will never bend, we will never give up, and our great American flag will never, ever fail. That terrible morning 24 years ago, time itself stood still. The laughter of school children fell silent. The rush of our traffic came to an absolute halt. And for 2,977 innocent souls and their families, the entire world came crashing down so suddenly. In the quarter of a century since those acts of mass murder, 9/11 family members have felt the weight of missed birthdays and empty bedrooms, journals left unfinished and dreams left unfulfilled. To every member that still feels a void every day of your lives, the First Lady and I unite with you in sorrow. And today, as one nation, we renew our sacred vow that we will never forget September 11th, 2001. Amid the horror of that morning, some used cell phones and office lines to whisper their final words to those who mattered most. They whispered indeed. At 8:59 a.m. aboard United Flight 175, Brian Sweeney called his wife, Julie. He told her, "Do good, go have good times. I totally love you. I'll see you again. I'll meet you up there." 4 minutes later, his plane hit the south tower of the World Trade Center. At 9:12 a.m. aboard American Airlines Flight 77, Renee May called her mom. Just the day before, Renee had learned that she was 7 weeks pregnant, but she never got the chance to share the news. She simply said, "I love you, Mom." 25 minutes later, Renee's plane struck the Pentagon. So violent, a strike it was. At 9:53 a.m. aboard United Flight 93, Elizabeth Waineo called her stepmom. They're getting ready to break into the cockpit. What do I do? I love you so much. They're going to break in. 10 minutes later, Flight 93 ended in the hallowed field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. At 10:25 a.m., Tom McGinnis was trapped on the 92nd floor of the North Tower when he told his wonderful wife, Elena, on the phone, "There are people jumping from the floors above us. If we get out of here, it'll be a total miracle. I love you, darling. Take care of Caitlin, beautiful daughter." 3 minutes later, the tower fell. Out of the ash, we witnessed the awesome power of that incredible love. We've seen it rise again. Out of the wreckage, we watched unbelievable courage suddenly take form. And out of the darkness, we saw the timeless truth of American character shine for the world to see. In America, we take blows, but we never buckle. We bleed, but we do not bow. And we defy the fear, endure the flames, and emerge from the crucible of every hardship stronger, prouder, and greater than ever before. Last year, we were a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. In New York, there were heroes like Chuck Costello, a 46-year-old elevator mechanic, and a member of the Knights of Columbus. He selflessly ran into the World Trade Center to free people trapped in the elevators. His body was not found until the following January, deep under the debris. While going through his belongings, Chuck's widow, Mary, a phenomenal woman, discovered a personal prayer written in his own words, "Help me to light the way for those in the dark, and when I enter the darkness, let me not panic, but patiently wait to remember the light." Beautiful words. When the time came, Chuck ran boldly into the darkness of hell on earth, and now he shines in the light of heaven above. We remember him this morning. That day we learned that the American heroic spirit was all around us. We saw it in the police officers, the great firefighters, the service members here at the Pentagon, and in the hearts of every American who answered history's call. One such hero was Army Sergeant First Class Steve Workman, who was on the edge of the impact zone when this incredible Pentagon was hit. He was right there, After leading hundreds of people to escape routes, Steve turned back and plunged into the inferno itself. Pushing through the debris, he came upon a severely burned Navy lieutenant, the only survivor from the Navy Command Center. Only one. The wounded lieutenant looked into Steve's soul and said, "Don't let me die." Steve replied, "I won't. I've got you. Just hang on." He wheeled the lieutenant out of the wreckage on the back of a maintenance cart before getting in the ambulance and taking him to Walter Reed Hospital. That man Steve saved, Lieutenant Kevin Schaefer, went on to join the elite team of CIA operatives who located Osama bin Laden. Steve, you're an American hero. We appreciate it. We appreciate what you've gone through. Please stand. Please stand. Where are you? Oh, good-looking man. You're a good-looking guy. You remember that day. You remember that day. Good. Thank you very much, Steve. That was something. That was something. In the years that followed, America's warriors avenged our fallen and sent an unmistakable message to every enemy around the world. If you attack the United States of America, we will hunt you down and we will find you. We'll go all over this sometimes magnificent earth. We will crush you without mercy and we will triumph without question. That's why we named the former Department of Defense the Department of War. It will be different. We won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything before that and in between. And then we decided to change the name. Well, now we have it back to where we all want it. Everybody wanted it. Everybody is so happy to have it back. You will fail and America will win, win, win. The enemy will always fail. 24 years have passed since that Tuesday morning in September, and an entire generation of Americans have come of age in a totally different world. While they cannot remember the agony of that day, they are carrying on the legacy of those who lost. Around 8:30 a.m. on the morning of the attacks, Army Lieutenant Colonel Kip Taylor sent an email to his friends and family describing the joys of fatherhood and his excitement for the upcoming birth of his unborn son. He wrote, "After you have kids, there are days that you just get going and you say, 'Hi, honey, I'm home.' What we do until that moment pales in comparison, but just that little statement, 'Hi, honey,' so American, so beautiful. But that's really the point of it all, isn't it?" An hour after he sent that email, Flight 77 flew into Colonel Taylor's Pentagon office and claimed the life of a very proud father and true patriot. 6 weeks later, on October 25th, 2001, Colonel Taylor's son, Luke, was born. Luke then tragically lost his mom to cancer when he was just 2 years old, leaving him to be raised by his father's brother. As a young boy, Luke asked his uncle about the folded flag on the bookshelf, and when he learned about his dad's decades of devotion to the Army and the horrors of September 11th, that's when he learned. Luke carried that memory with him and joined the ROTC as a college freshman. He graduated just last year, and I'm pleased to say he is with us today as a second lieutenant and doing very well. He's rising quickly in the infantry, preparing for Army Ranger School. The spitting image of his dad, they say, Luke says that every time he puts on a uniform, he feels connected to his father and to our country. But it was a father he never knew. Luke, your parents are together in heaven, and they could not be prouder of the man that they have produced. They produced you. Those two great people produced you. Luke, please stand. Thank you. You look good, Luke. You look good. They're looking down on you. They're very proud. This morning, we recall the light of America's best and bravest and the love that they showed in their final moments. In their memory, we make a solemn pledge and a noble promise. We will honor always our great heroes, and you are our heroes. There's a group of people that don't want to talk about our heroes, but we will always talk about our heroes, and that's the way our country is, and that's the way the people feel. We will defend the nation they served, the values they upheld, and the freedom for which they died. We will support our troops, we will protect our families, and we will preserve the American way of life for every future generation. We will build taller, grow stronger, fight harder, and soar higher. And together we will go forward as one people with one heart, one fate, one flag, and one glorious destiny under Almighty God. May God bless the memories of those who died and the heroes who fought and the soldiers who still stand watch. May God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
President Trump yet again remembering those who lost their lives on that tragic day 24 years ago. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. When you come back in a segment and you're already laughing, you already know it's going to be trouble. And when it's trouble, we're looking at this guy. Yes, David from Director of Research upstairs here at Fox 5 / comedian, I would say, joining us right here for a little
big
celebrity
slash. Yeah, more comedian than research. I can barely do math. I'm still using my fingers. So.
You were here last week, and I got to tell you, David, the people wanted you back.
Yeah, no, it was my mom. Yes, I know. She got my mom emailed you. Yes, I'm glad you got my mom's email. She's very aggressive. Yeah.
Well, my mom happened to be a big fan of yours as well.
Awesome.
So
I love it.
let's jump into a little celebrity dish, shall we? In this case, we're going to kick it off with Oprah. You know you're big, David, just like how I call you by your first name, and that's it. Well, Oprah, same thing. Y'all probably parallel, right?
Yeah. Similar.
Oprah opening up about her first big purchase of her career. She was at the Ralph Lauren show during New York Fashion Week and gushed about the designer to extra. She went on to explain that a particular Ralph Lauren item was her first big purchase, and just what did it happen to be? Well, towels, believe it or not. Saying that, hey, I love towels, but in this case, I had to drop a pretty penny for Ralph Lauren towels. What say you, David?
They're not even that expensive, so I guess I'm on Oprah's level, because I think I have Ralph Lauren towels. Now, if she had Nautica towels, now we're talking, right? But no, Ralph Lauren, I'm a little surprised. What was your big purchase when you started making a reel?
Probably, gosh, I bought a radio. Well, you know, I'm a little bit older than you probably, so a radio back in the day.
Not that much. You look great. So,
well,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Black don't crack.
Yeah.
So it happened to be a radio and a CD player. That was a big purchase for me. So, you know.
Yeah. Mine was, I think I bought a pair of Jordans.
Really?
Yeah. I never wear them. I always get beat up and they get taken from me, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I thought it would be something like a Bugatti or like, I don't know, a $50 million home for Oprah, not Ralph Laurentel's.
Yeah,
to your
but
point,
you know what? That's the difference between guys and gals. Like they want to improve the house. They want to make everything nice. We're like shoes, cars, jewelry. I want to get one of those diamond, little cross earring things. Yeah.
Anything that attracts what? Women.
Yes.
For us.
Oh boy. All right, guy, don't get us in trouble with HR. What are we doing?
All right. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
All right.
Pretty soon they're going to have me in HR. All right, let's move on to Kim Kardashian, who may be off the market, dare I say. I'm reading this for the first time, David. Eagle-eyed fans tracked both Drake, and Kim's recent travels to the Italian foothills, with some fan accounts sharing side-by-side photos of the stars as proof that they are vacationing in the same villa. Now, this isn't the first time the pair have been romantically linked. Back in 2018, Drake's Kiki Do You Love Me line from his song In My Feelings set the internet on fire with rumors he was singing about Kim K. You think they're hooking up?
Obviously, yes, but I feel like it's, I don't want to say but she's not what she used to be,
Okay.
She reminds me kind of like the Popeye's chicken sandwich. It was hot at the beginning. Everyone wanted a piece. And now you're like, it's there. Maybe I can get some, but I'm not really. Everybody's been there. It's not good. It's not. She's just, her laundry list of exes is so deep.
Yeah.
Drake, I don't know. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Just both of them.
And not only that, but he's following, let's see, Pete Davidson, right?
Right.
Who has quite a reputation for several things as well.
Yeah, he's packing some stuff. That's what they say. I don't know. What is he doing? Guys, you're going to get me in trouble here, guys.
Hey, no, he's packing a lot of personality.
He's got a big personality. That's what they say. That's tough shoes to fill, Drake. I don't know if you've got the size. I don't know.
Gosh.
All right.
This would be really interesting if they're actually dating.
Yeah.
Both are big stars. And quite honestly, the one thing I said about when she was dating Pete, she's a billionaire. He's I think worth a little over $30 million. That's a big difference money-wise. So, for example, he's still flying, let's say, first class. She owns her own private jet.
Right.
Drake, he owns his jet as well.
Yeah, but you know what? He cries for her. She doesn't. So you know what I'm saying? There's a trade-off with everything. No, I'm not. Money. Once you're a millionaire over, I think they're doing
think
good.
so?
Yeah,
Okay.
They're not worried about it.
All right.
They're not staying at the Best Inn like me and you.
Well, hey, I'm not staying there anymore either, my friend.
Forgot. You got your own show. I'm still working on mine. So.
Let's move on to Chance the Rapper, who's letting fans know that despite being a newly divorced man, he and his ex-wife are still a unit. The rapper dished about his relationship with his ex on a recent episode of Cam Newton's podcast. I talked about this yesterday, but I wanted to bring it to you. He said that the two are working on co-parenting their 2 kids, and they still travel together. And while he admits the dynamic isn't a perfect picture, they're committed to raising their children in a healthy environment. Oh, isn't that nice?
I love that because I also have a good relationship with my ex. We co-parent. So I think as long as you're around, it makes a big difference. And I'd rather be there than, and put aside my differences.
Yeah.
So, like the kids can grow in a healthier environment.
Yeah.
Even though the parents can't do it. So shout out to Chance. That's awesome. Good on him.
I agree with you. I mean, and he's yet again in a financial position where, he could just pay for it all so that they can all be together, and to your point, still have a healthy relationship and have the kids grow up in a healthy environment.
Now, can he bring a side piece, though, to the, you know what I mean?
Well, if he does, he's taking a chance.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. That's a Guy Lambert special. Folks.
Hey, I tried.
That's what we call it. All right.
We'll wrap up with this, and that is leave the Biebs alone. In this case, Britney Spears now defending Justin Bieber against public criticism after he used photos of himself with his young son to promote his new album, Swag 2. In a shared Instagram repost, Britney praised one of Justin's photos with his son saying, quote, "Shame on those who judged me in my home in my pajamas. I'm in love with this picture. So beautiful." Sounds like she's trying to, kill 2 birds with 1 stone there.
This is the blind leading the blind because she's messed up, dude. That photo of her, there was poo-poo all over the I want to use the correct term here, but yeah, she's a mess. I hope he doesn't follow in her footsteps.
Oh, yeah.
I'm more concerned. Also, Justin, you got money. What's up with that couch, man? I mean, that's like my grandma used to have that wrapped in plastic. What are you doing, dude? Go to Rooms to Go or Ashley, get yourself a nice couch. Get out of here with that.
Yeah,
I know.
The funny thing about those couches is that you would sit down and, dear God, do not have dessert because let's say some of it gets on the couch, then what? You're really kind of stuck. That whole that
or
sticky
you're losing
thing.
all your keys, your change, the Apple TV remote always in the middle. It's a nightmare.
Gosh.
Get yourself a solid couch. But yeah, I agree. This is not good. If Britney Spears is egging you on, that's not who you want to have in your corner.
To your point, I've said this time and time again on the show. I am so concerned that one day I'm going to have to open the show saying that Britney Spears is no longer with us, and I'm serious about that.
And you're right. That's really sad that we're at a state where have accepted her whatever mental state she's in, and it just hurts. And we're watching like a slow car wreck in real time, and just. I hope that she can get it together, and I hope that he can get it together too. Yeah. It's just the whole thing.
All right.
Sorry to leave on that note, but not that funny.
Well, let's leave it on a positive
note.
Since you're the director of research, how's this show doing?
We are gangbusters. We got your mom, my mom. We got all the moms out there. Shout out to the moms. The cute ones too. Call me. I don't know.
He's here all day, folks.
Thank you so
not really.
much.
The next 10 seconds.
All
So
right.
say bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
David joining us right here on the Live Zone. We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back. All right, guys, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone. Well, as promised throughout the day, we have been remembering those who lost their lives some 24 years ago on this very day. Several D.C. officials did just that this morning, right here in the nation's capital.
2001. Thank you for the beautiful presentation of the colors. I want to express my sincere thanks to Mayor Bowser, our Fire and EMS Chief Donnelly, David Hoagland, and Aretha Lyles, leaders of our local IAFF and local 3721. I want to recognize my other colleagues who are here, our Attorney General, Brian Schwab, at-large Council Member Robert White, Ward 7 Council Member Wendell Felder, and Ward 3 Council Member Matthew Fruman. You know, this has really become a storied and important event in our city, and as we recognize and honor and remember the tremendous sacrifice and service of our first responders on 9/11, I'd like us now to have a moment of silence in their honor. Thank you. Today marks 24 years since 9/11. I think it is safe to say for everybody who was alive during that time, we all remember exactly where we were on 9/11, one of those rare experiences in our shared American experience. I remember where I was on that morning, having lost several people that I know, and it continues to be a reminder not only of the sacrifices that our fellow neighbors and first responders made, but of the sacrifice our first responders in our city make every single day, running towards danger to protect all of us. I think it's really important as we remember the lives that we lost to continue sharing our stories and educate young people about September 11th so that the bravery of our first responders and those who served as heroes amongst the rubble and ashes are never forgotten. Today we come together to acknowledge the courage and bravery of our first responders, all those who are here with us and those we tragically lost, who gave selflessly during one of our nation's greatest moments of need. We're grateful each and every day for all of your remarkable service to the District of Columbia and to our country and as protectors of our nation's capital. We will always honor your sacrifice and the memory of your courage 24 years ago and that you exhibit every single day. Thank you. At this time, I am pleased to welcome Mayor Muriel Bowser, and then we will hear from our other colleagues. Thank you, Mayor.
Good morning. I want to welcome each of you to DC Fire and EMS Engine 16 in the heart of downtown Washington, D.C. I want to thank Councilmember Pinto and Councilmember Fruman for continuing our tradition as a city for gathering at this firehouse that protects the downtown, protects City Hall, and protects so many of our residents, visitors, and workers. This firehouse also, of course, responding to the events of 9/11 at the Pentagon. I want to recognize DC's elected officials, including the Attorney General, Council Members White, Felder, as well, joining the Ward 2 and Ward 3 council members. I want to acknowledge the leadership of DC's bravest, DC's Fire and EMS Chief John Donnelly, the command staff, and all firefighters, all EMS personnel. We've been joined by the Commanding General of the D.C. National Guard, General Leland Blanchard. I want to thank you for being with us as well. We know that our lives were forever changed 24 years ago. Our nation changed in an instant in New York City at the Pentagon and, of course, in the skies over Shanksville, Pennsylvania. And so each year on this day, we come together to remember lives lost and to vow never to forget. We remember 3 young souls, our kids, on a plane to go and to learn, DCPS students who were aboard Flight 77, Bernard Brown, Asia Cotton, and Rodney Dickens. We remember their teachers and guides who committed their lives to teaching, who were by their side: Sarah Clark, Hilda Taylor, Ann Judge, Joe Ferguson, and James Debonair. And we remember the Washingtonians whose lives ended on Flight 77 and at the Pentagon: David Charlebois, Paul Ambrose, Karen Kincaid, Ronald Milam, Carolyn Hammond, Brenda Keegler, and Edna Stevens. In solemn reflection and remembrance, we pray for the nearly 3,000 lives lost on that day and the lives that have been lost since. And of course, we remember the courage of our first responders in the midst of chaos. The DC Air National Guard, who scrambled to protect our skies, DC Fire and EMS members, MPD officers who rushed to the Pentagon, and the dispatchers who took calls that day at the Office of Unified Communications. And we also remember the sense of safety that we lost. We know how our lives were changed forever, and we know all the work that we have done to harden and better prepare the nation's capital. And for that, we have our fire and EMS department to thank for their commitment to training, for their commitment to making sure that our men and women have all the equipment that they need. And we have our lawmakers and policymakers to thank to make sure that we have laws in place that protect our firefighters who are running into danger. We thank you for your bravery on September 11th, but we know that you're called on each and every day in Washington, D.C., when our residents may be experiencing their worst day. They have a medical emergency. Someone had a heart attack. Someone's baby's in trouble. Somebody's house may have burned to the ground. And you run to that danger, and you help people every day. So hopefully none of us ever have to have that experience. But I've had the experience of walking out my house and hearing fire trucks racing to a house, my parents' house, that they were in. I've had the experience of having to see you in action and know the sense of calm that you bring to a panicked person in need of help. So on this day, we remember the worst of days for our nation, but we also think of your everyday bravery and thank you for your service. Chief Donnelly, I'd like to present to you, on behalf of all of us, a proclamation on this September 11th, recognizing it as a day of remembrance in Washington, D.C. Thank you. And I'd also like to recognize the leadership of the unions representing both the fire and EMS units at DC Fire and EMS, David Hoagland and Aretha Lyles. And welcome to the podium the Attorney General for the District of Columbia, Brian Schwab, to be followed by the council members present. Attorney General.
Yet again, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser remembering those who lost their lives on 9/11 some 24 years ago. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, guys, just like that, back here on the Fox 5 Live Zone, let's have a little fun, shall we? Chris joining us, host of Do You Like It or Not?
We were just bonding over our love of Android phones. Haters come my way. I was watching the morning show this morning, and they were talking about the new iPhone that just rolled out and how iPhone fans are complaining that it's not as pretty as it used to be. And they said it looked like an ugly Android. Well, welcome to our world. They are perfect technology machine. I could go on for hours. But I love the hate that I get over my Android.
Well, if you're not going to go on, I will. See, my phone's out and all that.
Yeah, I
you
love
iPhone
his phone.
users, you can't
I
do
came
that.
This close to getting that phone too, and I regretted it every day since because I just think to myself, oh man, I could watch movies on this.
Yeah, it's great. I'm telling you, I love it.
That's not what I'm here to talk about.
All
but
right.
Here we are. I found a nice outfit, by the way.
Thank you. Kind of
nice Eagles green. No, I'm kidding.
Green Bay Packers, green and yellow. And why am I wearing that? Because typically on game day, whatever colors I wear of whatever team is playing, they lose.
They lose.
So
All right.
that's why
so
I'm
he's
wearing.
got a system.
Yeah.
But I have to say, there are few people I know, probably no one, who could pull it off as well as you do.
Okay.
I mean that seriously.
Okay.
Like, it is a color combination. I mean,
Thank you, my
besides
friend.
the Green Bay Packers, and obviously it's something that's worked for them for years, it is not something I have ever gone in my closet and been like, you know what?
Yeah.
But it works. I'm jealous, to be honest with you. But obviously, as you know by now, and we have talked about throughout the morning and the afternoon, the Commanders taking on the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field tonight.
Yep.
It's a good thing it's probably early in the season because it's not going to be nearly as cold as it gets there in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But here's an interesting thing about this game.
Okay.
Not just a battle of NFC heavyweights.
Yeah.
It is a battle between the oldest and the youngest team in the league.
Really?
The Washington Commanders, the oldest team
What?
in the NFL, and not just the oldest team in the NFL, the oldest team in the NFL in nearly 20 years. Of the players who took the field on Sunday, the average age of the Commanders, 28.6 years old.
Oh my
That is
gosh.
old in NFL standards.
Yeah.
The Packers, the youngest team by far, the average age, somewhere below 26, I believe. It's right hovering around the 26-year-old mark. Now, obviously, the Commanders made some big name acquisitions during the offseason, including players like Von Miller, all over 30. Austin Eckler, over 30, and I believe Zach Ertz is as well.
Yeah.
So they have some players that drag that average up because they also do have a lot of young talent like Jaden Daniels. But the Packers, the youngest team in the league. So this is an interesting matchup in that sense. The last team for the Commanders that we mentioned that they're the oldest team in nearly 20 years. The last team, 28.7, so just about 1/10 of a year older, and that was the 2007 Washington football team under Joe Gibbs. I can't speak to how that team did. I don't have that stat.
What
in the
year
back
was that again?
2007. It was the final year of Joe Gibbs, I believe.
Was that with
His second
Heath, the guy, Schuler?
Very possible. I always remember the Jason Campbell days. back
Deion
then.
Sanders might have been there too, if I could recall.
Oh, interesting. Wow, he would have dragged that average age up because Deion was playing for a long time. I did a science fair project in grade school. I want to say it was in either 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. And I looked at the weight of football teams. And I added up I got one of those, they make these books that have like every NFL player, the whole roster, all their stats and everything. And I went and I added up the weight of every single NFL team. And my simple hypothesis was that heavier teams won more games. And it ended up being true. And it is still true to this day, especially when it comes to those offensive and defensive lines, that heavier teams do win more games. Whether older teams do, we'll have to wait and see. And you can catch the highlights right here on Fox 5 tonight.
Yeah. Don't forget the pregame show as well. So,
That's right. The pregame show that is kind of interrupting Fox 5's Do You Like It or Not? Chad Ricardo is going to be on Fox Local tonight with our pregame coverage, but we are still going to be on. We're going to be on YouTube only tonight.
Nice.
We're on YouTube every night, but tonight we're going to be YouTube only. So I'll blast out a link to the show on my Instagram story a little later, but you will be able to find us there for sure.
We got 2 minutes left in show.
All right. Well,
So,
you want
hope
to
you
talk
talk
about
about-
a little travel?
Oh,
I know
please do.
you're a big fan of it. Now, here's the question. Passport stamps. Do you look forward to getting
Oh,
one?
yeah.
And is it kind of like a little bit of a status thing?
Oh, yeah.
I got some bad news then,
Oh,
sir,
shoot.
because if you plan on traveling to one of 29 countries in Europe starting next year, You ain't gonna get one no
What?
more. Nope. They are
man.
switching over to a digital entry system similar to like TSA PreCheck and Global Entry. When you arrive there, Americans, starting next April, when you arrive in one of these 29 European countries, you will go through either a face or fingerprint scan instead of that passport stamp. This is great news for people like me who do very little international travel in their life, and their current passport, which they just got this current year, renewed, so I got a whole new book, has one stamp in it. My wife's, on the other hand, you flip through it, there are visas, there are stamps, there are every country you could imagine.
Wow.
She basically has one from. So the playing field a little more level these days. What I thought was interesting when I was watching Good Day earlier today, Steve Chenevy suggested maybe they can have like just a stamp set up so that you can kind of go and do it yourself once you do like the digital, because people do really like having those,
bragging rights.
I guess it's bragging rights.
But you know, it's a good thing as well, because now, well, not that I want to lie, but I could say, hey, I've really been there.
Yeah.
And you can't
And
check.
You can't, exactly. You have no, look at my blank passport. That doesn't mean that I haven't been a world traveler, but I do find it kind of interesting how like passport stamps have become like a status symbol.
All right, well, hopefully you'll talk about it tonight on Do You Like It or
Not?
Not? Beginning at 7:30 right here on, in this case, the YouTube channel.
Bach 5 DC's
Absolutely
YouTube
love it.
page.
That
That's
just
right.
about does it for us. On behalf of my producer, Emmy, hey, this is producer Chris. Check him out at 7:30. I'm Guy Lambert, back here tomorrow at 12 o'clock.